second delay.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting for it to actually pop up that
Oh.
we're there. Don't see it yet. Oh, there you are. Just waiting for it to actually pop up that we're awesome. All right. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Casting Magic, the official live stream to Magic Time Films. And joining us tonight, of course, are my good friend and heterosexual life partner, Mr. Keith Melcher.
Hello.
And our special guest tonight, Makenzie Massagli. Did I say it right this time?
Perfect. Hey, guys.
I did it. Yay. This is the show, of course, where we just talk about pretty much anything film related, anything film centric. I got my note cards here. I'm official. I have note cards like a talk show host. We're pretty excited about tonight. Makenzie is a game streamer. Do you stream the games or do you just record them?
I want to start streaming, but right now I just record because my internet isn't really super reliable. So, but eventually I'd like to start streaming on Twitch as well and then uploading that to my YouTube.
Awesome. And Makenzie is also an actress. You do theater?
Theater, film, television, print work, hosting, you name it, I've got my hand in. Well, except I don't do anything rated X. So don't look me up on like Pornhub or anything. You won't find me. You're like, just saved me 5 minutes.
What was that, Keith?
I said that takes care of most of your questions then, right?
Yeah, I might as well just throw these cards away. No, it's all gone. The whole thing is done and over with. Well, to start things off tonight, Keith and I have a quick movie review for you. We will get back to Kenzie here shortly. What are we reviewing today, Mr. Melcher?
Today we are reviewing a little film called 1031.
Yay.
It came out a few months ago on DVD. I ordered it directly from the company that put it out. I think it's getting a wider release right now. I'm not exactly sure. But it's an indie anthology horror film. It was directed by Rocky Gray, Justin M. Seaman, Zane Hirschberger, Brett Yeager, John William Holt, and Hunter Johnson. And basically, it's like 5 different horror films, all centered around Halloween, all different, kind of different tropes of the horror genre. You have your haunted house story, have a couple of slasher stories, and then you have one that's revolves around a blizzard during Halloween. And full disclosure, that segment was actually directed by a friend of mine, Brett Yeager, who also directed Bone Jangles, which I appeared in. And I actually have an uncredited cameo in this film as Bone Jangles, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the best part of the whole movie.
I don't know. Overall, I have to say it is an enjoyable film. It's definitely an indie film with a very low budget, you can tell. But I thought it was pretty good overall. You watched it with me, Ryan. What did you think of it?
I did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. For the most part, I thought the segments were all very well done. But maybe it's just because I've been watching so many low budget horror films lately that I'm starting to kind of become a little desensitized to them. So I'm just kind of like towards most things. But they're still good. I mean, that's not a detriment to them. It's just I've watched too many movies.
Yeah. Well, as far as anthologies go, I thought it was competently made, and all the stories were pretty distinct, so they were all pretty memorable.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. It was really good. Very well done. My favorite segment was probably the last one, actually. Isn't that the one that was directed by the guy who used to be in Evanescence or whatever?
Yeah, Rocky Gray. He's
Rocky Gray,
he was the guitarist in Evanescence, and now he's gotten into filmmaking.
Right.
Yeah, but no, that one, that was definitely the goriest out of all of them. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It was actually. It was pretty gory. There was another one that was really good too, and I can't remember which one it was called. I can't remember the name of any of them, honestly, except for the blizzard.
It is.
The first one was pretty good.
The first one it was the haunted house, which is the film crew trying to do a commercial for bed and breakfast. That it turned out the place was haunted. Mm. And that was the one that featured the only nudity in the film, unfortunately, because it wasn't good nudity.
Because good nudity, I guess.
No. There's some people that are into like 80-year-olds.
Some people, that's the only reason they watch horror movies, I guess.
Yeah. Not me, though. I watch it for the plot.
For the plot, yes.
And
you watch a lot of...
go on.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the other segment, it was kind of a vampire-type deal with the scarecrows.
Yes, that one. I remember that one, too.
Yeah, and then there was one at a roller derby. I like that one. I think that was probably my favorite segment.
The roller derby one was interesting.
Yeah, there's some twists and turns along the way.
Some twists and turns.
Yeah.
Things happen. Are you into horror movies at all, Kenzie?
I love horror movies. I'm really picky with them, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. My best friend, actually, we went to go see the new Annabelle Creation movie a while ago. And because of that movie, she no longer lets me go out with her to see movies anymore. Because I'm that person where my mouth just doesn't always have a filter when I'm watching movies. So I'll critique the entire thing and kind of make jokes. But I said the main character has, I think, polio. And so there's this scene where she's like at the edge of the stairs, and the demon lifts her up and throws her over, and the next thing that you see is it kind of blacks out, and then you see her in a wheelchair. So my first thought was, well, I mean, at least she wasn't an Olympic athlete or something. Like, this could have been a lot worse. So I turned to my best friend, and I'm like, well, at least she had polio, and everyone heard. I felt terrible because in my head it wasn't like anything bad. It was just, well, I mean, could have been a lot worse. She got a wheelchair out of it. She probably needed it. So, but she doesn't let me go to movies anymore with her.
Oh, that's amazing. I want to go see movies with you now if you're going to make quips like that. We've been on this big kick of So Bad They're Good movies, and it's kind of become its own genre lately.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I think I would probably say that's, and I say this loosely because they are good movies, but 1031 kind of fits into that category a little bit, where they're the low budget movies where you can. I applaud their efforts and everything, and I did enjoy it, but I think it has kind of fallen into that realm of the low budget, so bad is good kind of thing. Not all of them. Like, some of the segments are really, really well done, but
yeah. I wouldn't put it in like the same category as like Troll 2 or Birdemic, though.
No. I don't think anything in the world.
Birdemic, Makenzie?
I did see it a very long time ago.
That is my favorite bad movie ever.
Well, I'm a big bird person. I love birds. I prefer them to like dogs or cats. So when I watched that, it just kind of cracked me up. Like, because I watched it, I was like, man, is this like what people think happened? Like, is this what people think they're like? So
I cracked up a lot watching Birdemic as well, but it was for other reasons. It was the birds being one of them. But I don't think it was so much my thoughts on birds as it was the presentation.
Yeah,
the gift birds that just don't move; they just flap their wings. And for whatever reason, they can make dive bomb sound. And I think they spit acid. Don't they spit acid at one point?
Yeah, that is the thing that happens.
That is a literal thing that happens. And then they just go away. That's it. End of movie. Bye-bye. Just go back out to the ocean. It had a very similar feel to, like, The Happening, only, ironically, Birdemic was far more enjoyable. For its own reasons. Did you have anything else to add to that, Mr. Melcher, as far as 1031 goes?
I was just going to say, it's a decent enough movie. You should check it out. Just probably just look for it on the internet. You can find links to order it from, or it might be available for rent on some VOD platforms now too. So it gets the Keith Melcher seal of approval.
Awesome.
I think that seal has. It sounds like that seal might have some low standards.
You have no idea.
All hail Asylum Films for Bad Movies, says Joel Schuler. Welcome to the live stream, Joel.
Hey, Joe. I know Joe.
We watched Birdemic with birds. They were not happy. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. They should take up their signs and hit the streets and be like, this is not a fair representation of birds. Well, there we go. There's our review for 1031. How about we go ahead and jump right into the interview then? Why don't we go ahead and just start really quickly with letting the audience know who you are?
Oh, gosh. Well, that's hard to answer when you're like mid-existential crisis. I mean, who am I? I don't know. So my name is Kenz. I'm a YouTuber, actress, and I'm actually a talent agent now. So I kind of do a little bit of everything. I've got my hands. I like to know a little bit about everything, so I kind of like to try everything that I can. I love video games. I've got a bird named Tommy. That's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess. I'm a weirdo.
I've watched your show before. It's a really good show. I like. There's a little bit of variety to it too. It's not just the games. I've seen some of the ones where you're just kind of waxing on different things that are going on. I like Unmedicated and Dysfunctional. I think that's a really cool title. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Unmedicated and Dysfunctional? And kind of give us a little bit of the history and what it means to you, I guess.
Yeah, so it actually really comes kind of from a pretty dark place for me because I was on antidepressants for a very, very long time. And when I had gotten on them, it probably wasn't I was never using them the right way. So I was constantly upping medications. They were paired with different things. They were constantly being switched on and off per my doctor's orders. And then about like a few months before I started Unmedicated and Dysfunctional, they upped my medication again, and I ended up in the hospital for an overdose. So I got off and decided to cold turkey because that wasn't going to happen again. And the withdrawals from it just got terrible. Like, I couldn't eat, I wasn't sleeping, I was hallucinating real bad. I lost a lot of weight. I actually looked like a crack addict for a while because I couldn't stop shaking. Like, my body was just doing whatever it wanted to do. And there wasn't much that I could do besides kind of hide out. I was losing a lot of work. Like, I didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. So I started my channel to kind of cope with that and just be like, hey guys, I'm here, I'm hanging on. I needed something. Yeah. And it ended up just being this incredible support network. I realized that we're all a little bit dysfunctional, no matter how medicated we are. So that's kind of where the name came from, and we're still going. It has been a few weeks since I've posted. There's been a lot going on just at home with some personal things that I've needed to take care of, but I'm slowly starting to get that inspiration back and that will to jump back into it. So hopefully this week we'll have a few more videos and it'll get back to its normal stream.
Nice.
Stream and load. So
very nice. Yeah, I had noticed that I hadn't seen anything posted in a little bit. And I can definitely say
it's just been crazy.
I feel your pain. I've been dealing with depression and obsessive compulsive disorder my entire life. Depression more recently than obsessive compulsive disorder. That started when I was a kid. But I actually recently had to take myself off of my medication for a lot of the same reason, because I was just suffering some really bad side effects. And they weren't going away, you know. I mean, it's one thing when the side effects are there and then they just kind of vanish. But these were like going on for months. And I was finally just like, I can't do this anymore. And the last couple of weeks I was on it too. There was a lot of insomnia, things like that. And
yeah.
And
what's really weird about the withdrawals, because it really, how bad they get really just depends on how much and how long you were on it. So I was on it for, over over 5 years, so probably more around 7 or 8. But it was one of those things where the first month off was pretty fine. I felt pretty good. The first 2 months, I had to relearn a lot of just basic emotions because my brain didn't recognize those chemicals anymore. So for like a good 2 weeks, whenever people showed me pictures of baby sloths, I would just start bawling because my brain didn't know how to categorize like what I was feeling.
What is this thing? What is
it? And then maybe like 4 or 5 months in, all of the heavy stuff just hit, and that's when all of a sudden I couldn't eat. It was weird. Very, very weird. And then I did more research and was like, okay, well, I can expect to experience this for about 18 months and then I'll be good. I just have to make it through that and I'll be good. So it's very weird what it does because your brain literally has to go in and reset itself.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It is really interesting.
Yeah, this
definitely
is actually
interesting to study.
the second time in about a year that I've had to give up on a medication because of its side effects. And the last one that I did before this one, it wasn't the actual side effects, it was the withdrawals. That's what the problem was. That was scaring me because like the medication itself wasn't really
hard.
that bad, but if you missed even one, it let you know. Like not even one pill if you missed it, and you start getting like body shocks, and you can feel the anxiety and the insomnia coming on, and it's pretty crazy. And that's another thing that I kind of like is hard to explain to people. It's one of those things where the pills themselves aren't. It's not that the medication itself is addictive. But it's very like mentally addictive. So it's not something where it's like I feel like I need to put a pill in my mouth all the time because of my physical stuff. Like I'm fine shaking for a little bit, but it's that mental like, man, I just need to take something to get for my day to be easier kind of mentality that you slowly get into habitually. That is kind of hard to explain to people. No, these aren't physically addicting, but mentally I feel like I need one all the time. Yeah. And a lot of people I think don't quite know how to grasp the difference with that, if that makes sense. No, that makes
so that's always
sense.
hard to explain.
I mean, it makes sense to me because, I mean, I've gone through it, so I obviously know. Dealing with the medications can always be a very interesting thing. How do you think that affects the kind of content that you create overall?
Oh gosh, it affects everything I do. I mean, it's very weird because every day when you deal with something like that, you go into every day kind of with a different mindset. So that changes really what you're motivated to do. So sometimes if I feel like I'm dealing with some depression, for example, over the last week or so, that's completely wiped out any of my motivation to really do anything. But if I'm feeling like a certain mood, like, okay, well, today I feel like I kind of need a laugh, that's when I'll do maybe a funnier game or something like my horse prints where it's just so completely bizarre, you just don't really know what to do with it. So it completely changes what I do. Or if I'm having, because I do have a lot of real moments on my channel where I talk about, okay guys, well, this is the stuff that's going on right now, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't really, but I think that with the way that this channel has built itself, we definitely lend for that to happen. Like I don't feel like I really need to hide a whole lot from my audience, which is really lucky because there are a lot of instances where you kind of do have to do that. But YouTube is not one of those, thankfully. Yeah. So it really just depends on what's happening that day. Honestly, it affects. I mean, it's your head.
Yeah.
You can't really escape it.
It really is, yeah. So. And I totally get that too. I think that's one of the things that I really liked about the idea of doing this as a live stream is having that freedom to just kind of talk about whatever is on our minds and just kind of get it out there. This actually started, I want to say about 7 or 8 months ago, and I was just live streaming on my personal Facebook, just talking to people because I was lonely and I didn't know what else to do, and so that's kind of what inspired me to do this. I love every time you cough, it just like immediately cuts back to Yuki. God, this Ryan guy's talking. And I think it's really interesting how it does affect the kind of content that we create. And in my case, it actually prevented me from making content a lot. But speaking of YouTube, That's actually, it's funny because the whole YouTube fiasco, I think that was in December when that went down.
Still lagging. It's still lagging on.
It is.
Still going.
That is how we actually first met. Was because of that. Yeah. Met on Google Plus, as a matter of fact. And one of the many comments and sections of people that were very angry at YouTube. Very angry at YouTube. And so I'm kind of curious, like, where do you see things now, right now? I mean, I know you just said that it's still hanging, but...
I mean, that's a really hard question. Mm-hmm. I think that took a huge hit on everyone. And that's been part of my lack of motivation, is because I'm kind of sitting watching this and watching where that whole creator movement has kind of gone. And I'm still kind of sitting here like, man, if there's no competition for YouTube, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And we're just going to end up watching it kind of go downhill. And so then where are we at the end of it? You know, if there's not a platform for us, then there is no us out there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there are things like Facebook, but
Facebook has its own issues going on right now.
Yeah, especially with everything with the shooting that happened, and and then you've got Twitch, but that's a completely different platform in what it even is. So we don't have anything like YouTube right now, and I think that really needs to be brought in if we want to see anything grow, because they don't have any competition. So right now they can pretty much do anything that they want. The only problem with that is that it would have to be entirely community funded because of how expensive it is to keep everyone's content up all the time, to make sure everything is running smooth, just to be able to have that database. I mean, I'm totally cool with tackling the business side of things, but the actual technical stuff, I just don't know how to do, or even where to go with that. And it would literally take all of us getting together and putting that together, but we're just not seeing any of that right now. Right now, we're seeing people support each other still through YouTube, which is great, because we can still grow that way. But if YouTube does eventually go down, I mean, that's it for us. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Do you see that happening anytime soon, though? I mean, with YouTube and what it's going through. I mean, do you think that's a real possibility that YouTube's going to just go? I mean,
with the way that they're going, absolutely. Honestly, like, if I don't see any changes, I really do think that that's where that could head. Because I mean, they were in a position where their business end of things wasn't already great, which was why they needed to make some changes. Not that the changes that they made were beneficial to them, but now they're losing a lot of that sponsorship and things that they had before, and business still isn't great. So, I mean, in the next few years, if they don't make any changes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I can definitely see that happening as well. And I think the big fiasco that happened back in December, for anybody who's watching right now, is basically YouTube passed some new rules or policy changes that...
Thanks to Logan Paul.
Yes, more or less. That I think he was a huge contributing factor to that, I think. But I personally think that was more of a catalyst that they just kind of used as an excuse.
Yeah, that was definitely like the final push, I think, because there was a lot leading up to that.
Yeah, because I think it was the year before that was when they kind of buckled under the pressure between AT&T and Verizon about content being too mature for their young cell phone users, and so they started flagging people's content that had certain things, tags, especially if you had words like horror or gore
or monsters or anything that Ethan Ryan made.
Yeah, literally, exactly everything that we made. I didn't even realize it. Like, I didn't even get a notice or anything, and it wasn't until December when they did the latest crap that I was looking at our channel, and I was looking at all the videos on the monetization side, and I noticed that 3 of our videos had been flagged and were marked for we were still monetized, but it was like very minimal.
Right.
It had a little yellow sign next to ours because the one, I'm sure it's probably because there was a lot of F-bombs in that one particular episode of Larry and the Monsters.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, I'm not.
You wrote it,
I'm not
so-
sorry at all. Fuck them. How about that? And then Nayar got flagged. Our first big short feature. Short
Oh,
film.
that's too bad.
Yeah, and there's like one F-bomb in the whole movie, and I think the whole reason it got flagged was because of there's a little bit of a make-out scene that gets a little hot, but it never gets like, there's no nudity, you don't see anything, it's not actual, there's nobody having sex or anything like that, but it just got a little hot, that's all. And I'm pretty sure that's why it got flagged, was because of that. That's my guess. Either that or it was the tags themselves, such as horror and all that.
Yeah, their algorithms too aren't super great.
No.
You know what I think part of the issue is too is that they're paired with Google.
Yeah.
And I feel weird saying this because we're on Google Hangouts right now. But it's one of those things where Google does very few things well. A search engine is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Anything beyond that kind of level of complexity, I think just kind of gets minimally put together. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of these tools that Google has that are just heavily lacking. But that's the problem, is that they've got so many things going on that it makes it easy to utilize even though the quality isn't there. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people use it, like Gmail. I mean, if you look at Gmail in comparison to something like Hotmail, what you can actually get from Gmail really isn't that great because they don't give you a whole lot of space for anything.
Yeah.
And it's not free if you want the space that you get from Hotmail or one of the older ones.
Right.
So, I mean, that, and they've got zero technical support. There's no customer service, which I think is an issue. But, I mean, you can't complain if they don't have anyone talking to people. So.
This is true. This is very true. I wanted to make sure
think that's
to
kind
point
of,
out a couple of things on the side here that have been posted. Ryan Hamill says he gave up on his ADHD meds a long time ago. Hyperfocusing was not a good thing when I was younger. Yeah, I imagine. Google Plus, perhaps Logan Paul is the Archduke Ferdinand, the lighting of the powder keg.
Powder keg.
I'm assuming it's supposed to be powder keg. Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of what we were getting at. Logan Paul really was just sort of there. I think he was just an excuse, personally. I mean, I don't excuse what he did at all. I thought it was in very poor taste.
I'll fight him.
What was that?
I'll fight him.
I'll fight him.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing for me is I sit there and I go, we have so many challenges, so many channels that are like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, where their content is literally them hurting people or making fun of people or doing things that are just completely inappropriate. And I look at that and I go, YouTube knows that their creators are people who are inspiring other people. Whether that inspiration is positive or negative is totally up to the creator. But why are they promoting these channels that are very clearly negative? It just doesn't make sense to me, because they have that power from the very beginning to be like, yeah, you know what, we're just not really going to support these kinds of channels.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of that probably stems from the fact that there's not as much moderation going on as they might make it sound like there is. Like, a lot of it is probably just automated moderation. And so I don't want to say that they can go ahead and claim ignorance, that they didn't know it was there. But I do think that maybe on a small level, there's that's going on behind the scenes, that they're just kind of like, oh, well, we didn't even know this guy was making these videos. Oh, well, maybe we'll watch it now, and make sure, because people are finally speaking up enough to where they're paying attention, whereas all they were paying attention to before was their bottom line.
But the thing is, though, is they're sponsoring movies and things like that.
Yeah.
Like YouTube Red has movies with them, so it's not like they're not working with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. The whole thing just kind of...
I guess, well, and that's like a whole other world, because I haven't even touched YouTube Red.
No, same.
Yeah,
same.
I've actively stayed away from it. I was like, why would I want to pay for YouTube? This is weird. Especially with all these ads and everything. Why do I even need to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So So there's that. There's YouTube and that whole fun thing that we've all been dealing with for a while now. And I agree. I think it's time, not even just because of what's been happening, but I think it is just time that there should be a competition going on, because there isn't. There's nothing else. You got Vimeo that's out there. But
Vimeo is a whole different beast in itself, though.
Really is.
Isn't it more of like a portfolio kind of?
It kind of is, and it really is more for, dare I say, I use this term loosely, the elite filmmakers who are looking more to just be taken seriously, and they want to get their work out there. And the structure of Vimeo is very different as well. Like the only free structure to Vimeo is watching it, and that's it.
Right.
And even then, there's a lot of content on there that's video on demand that you have to pay for in order to watch it. Or you can subscribe and pay, I think, like, I don't even remember what it is. I want to say it's like $50 a year, and you only get like 2 gigabytes of space to post videos with.
It's really not much.
No, not at all. And I was very disappointed in how that was set up. But again, I think I get where they're coming from. They don't want everybody just posting everything to Vimeo because they want to keep it more as a professional platform.
Yeah,
but
and it makes
something
sense
that's
too
more
because
accessible to a broader audience, like YouTube, on the other hand, is, I think, something that's necessary. We need to have that competition out there.
Yeah. We're getting some good comments here.
Oh, well, wow, yeah, it's going crazy all of a sudden. Hamel says, I tend to disagree about the quality, although I'm heavily invested into the Google ecosystem. The customer support issue is nearly impossible to handle due to a number of issues. I don't know.
Hi, Ryan. So here's, I guess, how I would address that is I look at that and I go, okay, well, there are other platforms out there that have better customer service who do, while they do different things, they set it up really strong in a way to where they could handle things. For example, banks. Banks have millions and millions of users, right? But the thing is, if they didn't have as many issues as they had, they probably wouldn't need that customer support as much as they needed it. So that's kind of how I look at that, is I look at it and I go, well, they've got this really strong infrastructure set up already so that they really don't, the demand for that isn't as high as it would be if they were having a lot of issues. So that's kind of how I see that. Yeah. I think that's the best I can answer that. That's just kind of how I feel about it, though. Again, some people may have some really great experiences with it. I know a lot of businesses use their platforming. So it's not necessarily bad. It's just I think it could be done better.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point. I use YouTube Red for the feature set, not the content, and also makes me feel better when I block the ads. I'm not familiar with YouTube Red, so I don't even know what the feature set is.
I'm not really sure on that one either.
Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin!
He says he subbed to YouTube Red, no ads in Google Play Music instead of Spotify. Better than ad blocking and hurting specific content creators I like. I think that's a very good way of looking at it, but I don't know. At the same time, I still kind of feel like it's I don't need another subscription.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of on the same page with you there. That is really nice and a great way of putting it, because you are now still supporting the people that you like. I don't know. Yeah, I just haven't tried it yet, so I really can't comment. There are a lot of things I want to watch on it, though. Like, I want to see Rhett and Link's show. I really love Good Mythical Morning. So I do want to see that, but I just haven't gotten around to it because I've got other bills and stuff.
What were you saying, Keith?
Eat up my money.
Oh, me? I just said I don't want to keep track of another password for anything else.
Little note, people, he uses the same password for everything.
I use different variations on the same password for everything. You son of a bitch.
His password is...
I got to a point in my email where so many people were trying to hack it every year that I just ended up changing it to one of the words that I knew was one of the least known words in the English dictionary, and then tacked on to the end of that just the most disgusting phrase I could think of. So I'm like, well, no one's ever going to think of this.
Well, there you go. It's good to be creative with your password sometimes.
Yeah,
watched the
yeah,
ads
definitely.
all the way through, says Joel. It's the best part, right? I mean, come on. Who doesn't watch the ads all the way through? It's not like I'm sitting here with my mouse hovering over that little icon that says I can skip the ad in 5 seconds.
I thought about that the other day. I was like, when kids grow up, they're never really going to know what commercials are. Like, that's not going to be a thing that you had to sit through while you were watching your Sunday cartoons, you know? It was like they could just skip that.
Which is kind of sad, really. I have 2 kids, and we watch Cartoon Network all the time, and of course they have their commercials on there. So many commercials. But I can only imagine what it's going to be like in the future, because, I mean, cable's going away. I mean, everybody knows this. This has been slowly but surely a thing. And so advertising has also changed as a result. And yeah, I mean, and the ability to just skip over an ad. I would have killed to be able to skip over an ad when I was 10 and trying to watch, one of my favorite shows, or when I was 7 or 8 and I'm watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and I'm like, no, I don't want to watch an ad for Golden Girls. Go away. Okay, I'll watch the Golden Girls.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess.
You know it.
B. Arthur. Anyway. What else we got here? Use LastPass or some other password manager. Coming up with your own password algorithms are a really bad idea. I suppose so. I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say something that was going to end up one of those knock on wood moments, and I know as soon as I say something, I'm going to have to change every password I own. So never mind.
Whatever you do not tempt anyone who knows how to hack a computer.
Exactly. I'm not going to tempt anything right now. Belgium? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I love that movie. And that book. It's a great book.
They're great. The books are great. Douglas Adams is a genius.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I agree. So we have the last little segment of the interview here. The speed round. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I call it Ryan's speed round of speedy questions.
Oh, very creative. I like it.
You like how I thought so hard about that? Thank you. I'll be here all weekend. So this is it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to ask the questions. You answer as quickly as humanly possible. Try not to think too hard about them. They're ridiculous questions.
Oh man, I'm going to be saying some weird stuff probably.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go with it. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, the people in the comments ready. I'm not going to wait for you to respond. Here I go. What is your favorite television show?
Hannibal.
Favorite ice cream?
No, I mean South Park. The pistachio Italian one with it looks like Neapolitan, but it's pistachio. That or Rocky Road ice cream are my favorite.
Rocky Road would have been easier to say. Favorite Ninja Turtle?
Spumoni, that's what it's called. The purple one.
The purple one. That's Donatello.
Donatello, yeah.
Hollywood actor you'd like to punch in the face?
I don't think I'm allowed to say that.
Why not?
Well, because I work in that industry.
Oh.
So I know quite a few.
Well, it could be one.
And Miles Teller.
There you go. I know you could always pick one of the ones that got nabbed for sexual assault or something, and nobody will bat an eye.
You know, they would, though.
No.
What if I work with them
This
one
is true.
day?
This is probably true. Okay, number 5. Freddy or Jason?
Ew. Freddy.
Number 6. In a fight, who would win, Hulk or Wolverine?
Wolverine.
Number 7. You or Spider-Man?
Me.
Favorite game of all time?
Wait, is it like Battle of the Wits or like Strength Battle? Because I'm super lazy.
Any battle at all.
Okay, if it's like a verbal battle, definitely me.
Definitely you. Okay.
Yeah.
Against Spider-Man, though?
Yeah.
All right.
He cries really easy at, like, everything.
But he's a hell of a dancer.
Yeah, I guess.
Number 8, favorite game of all time.
Ooh, what genre?
Any genre.
To the Moon, and then Outlast.
Ooh, Outlast. Good choice. Number 9, least
But the
favorite game of all
DLC
time.
whistleblower. What was that?
Least favorite game of all time.
We got quite a few of those.
Just start spouting them off.
I don't ever want to play Firewatch again. That game kind of sucked. I know a lot of people really liked it, but it kind of sucked for me. I really don't like any questing games, so like the Skyrim, really not one of my favorites.
What?
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really, it's just so boring to me though, like I can't do it.
Oh.
It is, yeah. And the voiceover work is really bad. Like it's like they were like, look, we've got a huge budget, but let's just not use it. It's how I feel.
Anytime you question the voice acting of Skyrim, just go back and play the original Resident Evil, and you'll love it. You'll think it's the greatest voice acting ever.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Let me guess, someone stole your sweet roll.
Or at least it's better than Professor Wowie in Mega Man. Professor Wowie. Go, Mega Man. It's so bad.
All right, moving along. Number 10, I broke your iPod. Do you tell Mom or beat me up?
Neither. I don't endorse Apple. Bam!
Oh!
I just realized my pants were unzipped.
Oh, look at all the views we have now. Wow.
I didn't think it was that exciting of a conversation. I mean, it was good.
I mean, no, I was playing with my, I don't know, I was playing with my button. I feel like I'm digging a hole right now, but I don't know, it's just kind of going like that, and I
just
realized.
decided you wanted to get comfortable. Just loosen up, undo the belts.
It's like when you eat a huge meal, but you're out in public, and you're like, man, I kind of need to unbutton my pants for a second. Because you need that extra room. Yeah.
Oh, no. All right, number 11. If you were a food, what would it be?
Cereal!
Number 12. Movie you wish you could take credit for?
Swiss Army Man. And, it's a short on YouTube that someone did. I totally forgot what it's called, though. Really good. It's about a guy who wakes up every day as a different person.
Ooh. What's,
It's really good. I don't remember the name of it. It's by Drake Dormeus. The Beauty Inside. That's what it's called.
The Beauty
really
Inside.
Good.
I'm gonna have to write that down. Don't go anywhere.
I'll
After the
you
show's over, you'll have to tell
really
me what
good.
it is again. All right, number 13.
Yes.
Justin Bieber, Alien or Antichrist?
Is this like... It's like which one I would marry and which one I would murder, and then the third option, or what is? Like, what am I thinking for?
It was more along the lines of which one is he, Alien or Antichrist? But we can go that route. I mean, that sounds kind of like an interesting way to answer
I'm
the
gonna
question.
say Alien.
Alien. 14. First thing you do when you're bored.
Unfortunately, check my phone to see if there's any work.
Check. Oh, that is pretty.
I know, it's a little sad.
All right, number 15. The last question. Ryan Brewer's love life, fact or fiction?
Oh, well, I mean, you said you had kids, but I don't know where they came from, so I'm going to go ahead and say fiction.
God. That was the last question. Those were some really good answers.
Thank you.
Yes, I like some of those. Those are really good. I don't know about that last one, but whatever. No, who's not coming back to the show.
I'm just making fun of you because I think we've talked about that before.
I think we have, yes. I think that might be one of the reasons why I subconsciously made that a question. Well, I think that's what we got over here. Let's see this. We got over here. Joel says you would win.
Yeah, I would win.
Ken's just stop. That's what Ryan says.
No, I wish I could.
I think he's probably referring to your pants issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's serious stuff. What if I wasn't able to, like, figure anything out by myself? It takes brilliant minds to come up with solutions.
If brilliant minds is what you're looking for, you came to the wrong place here. This is the Keith and Ryan shit show, just so you know. This is what happens.
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
Yes, exactly. All your base belong to us now. Well, I'm going to say that was a really fun interview. I'm really glad that we did it, and I hope we get to do it again in the near future.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Me too.
Yeah. But I'm going to say that's all the time that we have for today, and I definitely want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you, Mr. Melcher, for your awesome review of 1031. Make sure that... What was that?
I said that's about all I did today.
But you did it so well.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Thanks.
At movies. I mean, low standards, but really good at it.
No, thanks.
It's like the highest quality of the low quality standards. That's
All right, you can quit while you're ahead. That's fine.
Remember when we had a pants issue? That was a thing. Make sure and like us and follow us on Facebook as well as on YouTube. You can like our channel, Magic Time Films, and don't forget to check out Unmedicated and Dysfunctional. Makenzie, that would be awesome. Make sure and subscribe to her channel as well. I'm sure she would definitely appreciate that. And of course,
most definitely.
Yes, and of course you can also check us out on Patreon, www.patreon.com/MagicTimeFilms, and subscribe to us there and show your support for the channel and support for the content. In the meantime, I am Ryan Brewer. This is Casting Magic. Thank you all for joining us. You have a good night. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.